a conversation about retail energy choice in Pennsylvania, brought to you by the Retail Energy Supply Association, with special guest Gladys Brown, Chair of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission.
Welcome to PCN Sunday Fusion. I'm your host, Brian Lee, and our sponsor today is the Retail Energy Supply Association. RESA is a trade association of competitive retail energy suppliers dedicated to creating and sustaining competitive electric and natural gas markets for the benefit of consumers. We're here today to talk about retail energy choice, and our guests are the Honorable Gladys Brown, Commissioner with the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission, and Ritchie Hudson, the Retail Energy Supply Association's Pennsylvania State Chairman. Welcome.
Thank you.
Ritchie, let's start with you. What is retail energy choice, and what does it mean for consumers?
Thanks, Brian. Well, retail energy choice really began as a result of a law that was enacted in 1996. It was the Electric Choice and Competition Act, and the intent of this law was to restructure the electric and natural gas industry here in Pennsylvania so customers have a choice in their electric generation supplier. So the whole idea was to inject competition in what historically had been a fully regulated industry.
Thank you. And Commissioner Brown, what is the Pennsylvania PUC, and what is its role in the state's competitive retail energy markets?
The Public Utility Commission is a regulatory agency. We, of course, regulate the different utilities, but in terms of dealing with electric retail choice, we deal with the regulated market for electric as well as natural gas. Our role is to make sure that competition is taking place, is to make sure that we balance the needs of not only the utility or the supplier, but also that of the consumer. There are consumer protections that are in place. We no longer regulate the rate, and that's the part of the restructuring that took place in 1996. But we make sure that there are things in place that would protect the consumer, make sure that the business practices of the electric supplier or the natural gas supplier are those that are something that are beneficial to the consumer when they're making their choice to shop.
Oh, good. Well, we've got a nice little 2-minute video that the PUC has put together that explains all of this in good detail. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after that.
When someone says they're shopping for electricity, what does that mean? Well, when you pay your electric bill for your home or small business, you're actually paying companies for 3 different services. The supplier either generates or buys the electricity. The generation rate makes up about 2/3 of your bill, and this is what you're shopping for. The transmission service connects the supplier to the distribution company, and the distribution company is your local utility, and they deliver the electricity to homes and businesses. Normally, you get your bill from your utility even if you change suppliers. Although the distribution rates are regulated by the Public Utility Commission and transmission is mostly regulated by the federal government, the supplier rates are determined by the terms of your contract and are not regulated by the PUC. Therefore, depending on where you live, you may be able to save money or take advantage of new products such as renewable energy. Most Pennsylvania residents have the right to choose their electric supplier, but your ability to switch depends on where you live. Competitive offers may not be available in all areas. For example, if your municipality supplies your electricity, you cannot choose another supplier. It's important to remember that if you choose a new supplier, your local distribution utility will not change. The distribution utility's job is to deliver electricity and provide reliable service to homes and businesses, and to make repairs to the wires, transformers, and meters running up and down the street. If the lights go out, you will still call your local utility and they will fix it. They will also continue to send you your electric bill, which will include the generation charge from your new supplier. PAPowerswitch.com is the PUC's website that makes it easy to compare offers in your area and make the switch. Check it out.
So as we saw in the video, there's basically 3 parts to electric service. Could you explain that, Commissioner?
Your electric service deals with not only your generation, which is, of course, the generation of the electricity or purchasing of the commodity for natural gas, your source of energy. Then there's the transmission, getting it over the long distance to the utility company, and they serve as the distribution company. So for electric, they're getting the electric to your home. Those last two parts of the equation are still regulated, and they come under the jurisdiction of the Public Utility Commission. The generation side is the part that is not regulated, or it's restructured.
So the generation part is where you have the competition.
Correct.
I see. And Ritchie, would you consider retail energy choice to be deregulation?
No, that's actually a bit of a misnomer. So although many people use the term deregulation, the fact is the industry remains heavily regulated and subject to a tremendous amount of oversight from the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission and other state and federal agencies. What has been deregulated, so to speak, is the price. There is no longer economic regulation of the generation supply price offered by RESA member companies that are competing to earn customers' business.
I see. So is it difficult to shop for energy, Commissioner?
I don't think it's difficult to shop at all. We've come a long way since 1996 when that legislation was passed. Originally, when it was passed, there was some litigation that was in place, and there were rate caps then, especially on the electric side. So those rate caps started coming off in 2010, and with that, you started to see a lot of innovation in terms of the different products that were offered to consumers, and we at the Commission have made great strides in terms of our website, our papowerswitch.com website, or our pagaswitch.com website for natural gas. In the electric side of the retail market, we have made great strides, especially after last winter's cold temperatures and the concerns with the prices that were going up with electricity. We have made changes to our website that allow people to very easily navigate through it and decide which type of products that they can purchase, whether it's a fixed or a variable rate product, also whether it's a green product in terms of renewable energy. All those type of things are available on our website for the consumer to look at.
Well, Ritchie, from the supplier's standpoint, would you care to elaborate on that? How difficult is it to shop for?
Sure. So we try to make the process as easy as possible, and the Commission has done a great job in trying to educate consumers. The website that Commissioner Brown mentioned, papowerswitch.com, has been a great resource for customers who, many of whom really aren't accustomed to shopping for electric generation service the way you would typically shop for, car insurance or a mobile cell phone provider. So this is something that's new to some customers, but we try to make the process as simple as possible. So one of the things for customers to keep in mind is to compare products and service offerings on an apples-to-apples basis. So you want to look at the per kilowatt-hour rate that's offered by a new supplier, compare that to the per kilowatt-hour rate or price to compare that's available from your local utility with their default electric generation service product, and figure out whether it's an attractive offer for you.
Well, I heard the Commissioner talk about different products and services that are available, and you're talking about the price, but is it just about price, or is there more to it than just shopping for price?
So for some customers, they are primarily motivated by the opportunity to save money. But the great thing about the competitive market is it exists to provide a menu of options and value drivers for customers. So while one customer may be interested in finding an opportunity to save, another customer may be motivated by environmental sustainability goals. They may be interested in renewable energy products, 50% green or 100% green. Another customer may be primarily motivated by price stability. They don't want any big surprises in their cost of electricity from one month to the next.
Commissioner?
Ritchie is actually right. There are a lot of people that do look to shop in terms of the price, but I am amazed at the number of people, once they find out where I work, that say, I shop for green energy. So it's very interesting to see that, but we give them the opportunity on our website to look at all those type of factors, whether it's just for price or whether it's some type of renewable energy.
Well, so this was a result of a 1996 law.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had competition for a number of years. How successful has it been, Commissioner?
It's been very successful. When you're looking at something back in 1996, something very new, you're not sure how it's going to work, you're always concerned. As a legislative staff person, you're always concerned because you just don't know.
So you were on the staff back
I was
when
on the
law
staff
was
side,
passed?
worked for the Senate of Pennsylvania for the Democratic caucus. But in looking at the things that have come into place and the ability for people to shop, our numbers are over 2 million customers that are shopping here in Pennsylvania. We are rated as second behind Texas, and that was in 2014. We're still waiting to see what the 2015 numbers would be, but even with last winter and the difficulty with last winter and people moving around, whether they were shopping or not, we are still over 2 million customers.
Wow.
And with the changes that we've put into place to educate consumers, we're seeing more and more consumers that are looking around shopping. That doesn't factor in the fact that people go back and forth between the default service provider and a competitive retail supplier. So we don't have those figures, but right now the people that are out actually shopping with an electric supplier is over 2 million.
Well, I think we ought to take a break right now and define what a default service is for our viewers. Ritchie, do you want to take that on?
Sure. So even though you have a competitive market today where customers can choose their electric generation service provider, those customers that don't choose, they remain with the local utility. So whether that's a Duquesne Light Company out in the western part of the state, or PECO out in the eastern part of the state, or PPL here in Harrisburg, those electric distribution companies or local utilities continue to provide what's called default supply to customers who don't choose an electric generation service provider. And those utilities go out into the competitive wholesale market and procure the supply they need to offer that default generation service product.
Okay. So if I understand this correctly, then the utility is delivering the electricity. It's just depends on which supplier is offering the electricity. So do I have to worry about the reliability of this when I'm shopping for electricity, Commissioner?
No, not at all. The utility, as you stated, they are the distribution company, so we regulate them in terms of reliable service. In terms of the supplier, they go out and procure the generation, the electricity for you, or if it's natural gas, they procure that as well. And you do not have to worry as a consumer concerned for reliable service. It is there, it is regulated by us. We also have factors in place in terms of shopping that the consumer protections that I talked about earlier, that I did expand upon, but we have those factors in place to make sure that the company that is coming in to Pennsylvania to operate, we don't regulate their rates, but we do license them to make sure that their business practices are on the up and up, to make sure that they're providing information, disclosure information to the consumer, to make sure that their contracts are something that a consumer can understand. So all those safety measures are in place.
Yeah, and I would just add, one of the common misperceptions about retail energy choice is that somehow the utility is going to be mad at you if you choose, and that's just not the case. As the commissioner mentioned, there are rules and regulations in place that require the utility to treat all customers equally, whether you receive your generation service from the utility or from a new competitive provider. They're required to respond to outages in the same amount of time frame, whether you're shopping or not. So customers should be assured that this is a safe and reliable option.
Terrific. Well, you said that I can shop for green electricity. How does that work? Do I buy directly from a wind farm, Ritchie?
No. So most the way the electricity grid operates, you can't really control which electrons go where. That's just the physics of electricity.
They follow the path of least resistance.
Exactly.
Right.
So the way most green products operate is under an arrangement that's called a renewable energy certificate. So you can have a renewable generation plant, whether it's a wind farm or a solar farm, and they are granted one renewable energy certificate for every megawatt hour of electricity that is produced. So a supplier that's offering a 100% green product will procure these renewable energy certificates from the wind farm to source the green product offering they're making available in the marketplace.
And our website actually, when you're looking to shop and if you're looking for a renewable product, it will tell you in terms of the percentage of whether it's 100% wind or 50% wind, 50% solar. So that's the type of information that we have on our website as well.
So it's not a matter of buying regular electricity or green electricity. You can have a mixture of the two.
Yes, exactly. So customers can compare green products on the basis of the amount of green. I've seen products ranging from 25% green up to 100% green. You can evaluate products on the type of renewable energy, whether it's wind or solar, the geographic location. There are some suppliers that offer Pennsylvania-based renewable energy. So there are many customers that want to keep things local, just like shopping for local produce. You can shop for local electricity.
So are you telling me that the market drives good environmental outcomes?
I think so. With that, as environmental stewards, we're able to look at that because we know that it's safe to shop. We know that we're going to get our electricity, we're going to get our natural gas no matter what. So we can put those factors into place and choose to be, as I stated, environmental stewards and have more greener energy usage in our homes.
Yes, competition delivers on sustainability goals in a number of ways. First of all, at the wholesale market level, competition has made it easier for renewable energy operators to sell their electricity in a free and open competitive wholesale market. And then obviously at the retail level, like we've been discussing today, competition has created demand for voluntary green products. Those customers that want to be sustainable have those options, and that drives demand, which in turn drives investment in greater renewable energy.
Interesting. Well, what are some of the common misperceptions that consumers have about electricity shopping? Commissioner?
Well, some of the misperceptions are that they can the company can then just get out of the business altogether and you won't have electricity in your home. And it's really a seamless process that if there is something in terms of the business and they need to get out of the market, you will not miss a beat. You may not even know if you don't open up your mail properly, but you will always receive that information, whether it's disclosure. We've had different instances with suppliers that have given information to the consumer to say, we will be moving you into another supplier, or we will be moving you back to the default supplier. A default provider. So there's no way that you're going to lose electricity or use your gas. I think that's the biggest thing. And they're also concerned about different business practices when they'll say, well, I'm not getting the price that I was offered, but that information also is made available to you in terms of the contract, and we have increased our consumer protections through our regulations that we passed last year so that type of information is given to you, disclosed very easily to you, very clearly to you, and the written information that you receive from the supplier. So it really is a seamless process. You're not going to lose your electricity or your natural gas, and also you're going to receive a lot more information that you may want to receive in terms of the disclosure of the terms of your contract.
Ritchie, would you like to build on that? What are some of the common misconceptions that folks have about electricity shopping?
So I think more than just misconceptions, this is new to a lot of customers. So I think over time, people will begin to view energy choice the same way they view shopping for any other product or service. In our society, customers demand choice. I mean, if you look at the cereal aisle in your local grocery store, you see dozens of flavors and options available. And eventually, we're actually already there today in Pennsylvania. There's more than 100 product options that you can choose from on papowerswitch.com. So as customers begin to understand the differences between the different suppliers, between different pricing plans, renewable versus traditional generation, I think customers will appreciate the newfound choice that they have today.
So if usually in a market when you've got different competitors vying for the customer, you have innovation as a byproduct. Are we seeing innovation in the competitive electricity market?
Yes, competition drives choice. Competition also drives innovation. As new entrants to the marketplace, we don't exist unless we're delivering value to consumers. And we look for different ways to deliver that value and offering innovative pricing plans, new technology platforms. These are some of the ways that retail energy suppliers compete to earn customers' business. There are suppliers offering programmable Nest thermostats for signing up, home energy monitors, time of use rate offerings, free nights and weekends. These are some of the innovative product options that exist today.
Free nights and weekends. Interesting. Commissioner?
I agree with those different type of examples. It's more of being able to, I call it the one-stop shopping. So if you're looking at something else, whether it's, a cable bill or something like that, there's different ways that companies can team up with other businesses to offer the information in terms of a different type of supplier. So we're hearing different information about that. I think we've seen some of that as well. So we're just looking for a continuation of those type of innovative products.
Well, Commissioner, your role as a regulator and your prior role on the legislative staff, what are some of the regulatory and legislative policies that have contributed to the successful implementation of competition in Pennsylvania?
Well, I think, I know, not I think, it was a big jump for the General Assembly to, in terms of 1996, to restructure the electric market. But it was needed because at that time, and Ritchie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think generation in Pennsylvania was 15% higher than nationwide. So our electricity was so expensive that at that time. So Pennsylvania is more of a conservative state. So in order to do that, it was a big leap for them. And then also some of the factors that we have put into place in terms of what the Public Utility Commission has done has also helped with the competitive market. Our retail market investigation that we had, and then we're working with a recent one with the gas market as well, in terms of looking at factors, receiving comments and information of how we can make the competitive market better. So we constantly look at that. We also have in place our Office of Competitive Market Oversight, which always looks at different factors that may serve as a barrier to the competitive market. So we're trying to look at all those things to make sure that we have a robust competition here in Pennsylvania.
Ritchie, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I would just add that the regulators here in Pennsylvania and the state legislature, they've been incredible partners as part of this process to roll out a successful competitive market. A number of the policies that the PUC has put in place have been very helpful, trying to educate customers, developing the PAPowerswitch.com website, enabling new billing options so it's easy for a customer to get a single bill from their local utility instead of having to deal with getting two bills, one from the utility and one from the supplier. The Office of Competitive Market Oversight has been great at trying to navigate some of the disputes that can sometimes come up between the regulated utility and the new supplier. So I just want to thank you, Commissioner, for the proactive leadership that the Commission has provided.
Well, I read a lot in the news about shale gas production, and that's been a big part of the mix in Pennsylvania. How has the shale gas production impacted the electric industry in Pennsylvania?
Well, in terms of natural gas, it has made it cheaper, definitely, and that's something that is very positive for the consumers, as those not only for electric but also those shopping for natural gas. Gas prices have gone, and I don't mean the gas prices with your car, but natural gas prices, have been very low, and I think the forecast is that they will remain low for a while.
Ritchie?
I would agree. Shale gas has been a critical ingredient to the success of retail choice. It helps keep our cost as a retail supplier down, and we can pass those savings on to consumers.
With all the choices that are available, it can maybe be a little confusing for the everyday consumer. Can you explain the difference between some of the available pricing options, Ritchie? For example, what's the difference between a fixed rate and a variable rate?
Similar to a credit card interest rate or a mortgage interest rate, in the electricity market you have different pricing options. You have a fixed rate in which the supplier is guaranteeing that the price, let's say it's 8 cents per kilowatt hour, is fixed for a certain period of time, usually 6 months, 12 months. You see some offerings as long as 24 months in today's market. A variable rate, on the other hand, can change with market conditions. So variable rates can be tied to an index, for example, the hourly price of energy at the wholesale market level, or it could just vary month over month from one month to the next.
And to elaborate on that, that is the type of information that we have on our papowerswitch.com website. We also have videos on that website that will explain what the fixed and the variable rates are. People can go through our website and look to shop using only a fixed rate product or a variable rate product. So that information is very important. It makes it very easy for people to understand. And I know that last year when we were making those changes to our website, we have staff that goes out and does community events, and I went along with them, some of the other commissioners as well. And once you start explaining to them, we even were able to take our laptops with us and show people how easy it was to shop on our website, and it showed the distinction between the fixed and the variable rate.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank our guests, Commissioner Brown, Ritchie Hudson. We've had a good discussion about retail choice and competition. For further information about the Retail Energy Supply Association, go to www.resausa.org. Thank you.